Hello you beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. So as promised, I said I wouldn't keep you waiting too long before the next video, and as promised, here we are, the next instalment of the Zoukei-Mura F-4EJ Kai build series. So I hope this video finds you all well, enjoying the hobby. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see. So much so that you hit the like and subscribe button and check back in for more updates as they come along. To the guys and girls that have been here since the beginning, I can't thank you enough. And I hope this latest edition satisfies you. So straight into the action. This episode is going to be all about decals or decals, depending on how you say it. I'm not getting involved in this because, quite frankly, I don't care enough. So straight on with the action, using Mr. Hobby's mark setter, which I found to be really, really excellent stuff. Not too harsh, but enough strength in it to soften the decals or decals. That's the last time I'm saying that. To soften them and get the panel lines and bits and pieces showing through them once it does its magic. So I thought I'd kick off. I did a couple of smaller decals, as you can see on the rear of the aircraft there, the white one, just by the engine nozzles, just to test out how well the setting solution would work, if it would affect the decal badly or anything like that, which is something I do advise you to do in a place or on a decal that's not exactly vital, just to see how it reacts and gives you a good idea of what you're up against, okay, or working with. So as you can see, this is quite a large decal for the wing. It poses me a couple of problems, and the eagle-eyed of you should notice this fairly rapidly, because I went marching in, started getting this decal down, getting it in position, and then to my horror, a little bit of lack of preparation. So please learn your lesson from me. Do your prior preparation, because then this sort of thing won't happen. So I will keep you out of suspense. This is where I've noticed where I'm just sitting here going, ah, crap. So I continue, because keep calm, because there's no point not keeping calm here, is there, at this moment? Keep calm. Get the decal into position. So the problem is, I'll keep you out of suspense, is I hadn't put any of the flaps or the front slats on the wings. So the decal was literally just hanging off the edges. You can see there at the rear where the thank you is written, and in fact in a minute it's about to flop off the edge, and also at the front of the wing as well. So what I did pretty rapidly to alleviate the issue is I got the decal calmly in position, made sure it is how I wanted it, and then I actually PVA glued the flaps into position before the decal had chance to settle and get into all the grooves and everything like that. So all was not lost, as you will see shortly. Also, please don't panic about the wrinkling going on there. This all gets smoothed out using a Q-tip or a cotton bud, and what you will find, as you'll see going through this episode, is the decals will shrink and wrinkle a little bit. Well, not shrink, they will wrinkle a little bit, but that's the setter doing its job, and it's entirely correct. So don't panic, don't start to correct it, just let the setter do its job, and it will flatten out and smooth and conform to your fuselage beautifully. So as you can see here, yes, all those bubbles are different decals, so there is literally hundreds of the rotters, okay, so to keep you busy. So if you're bored, this is certainly going to keep you amused. So I thought in this part of the episode of the series, getting it right here, I'll just show my tools, as you can see here. But for those of us that have been doing this a long time, you know, it's the usual, okay, tweezers, cotton bud, scissors, sharp knife if you need it, and then of course this stuff, Mr. Mark Setter Neo, okay, it's excellent. I also used a product by MIG, which was a little bit stronger. The name evades me now, a bit more sort of vinegary, but I was very careful with that because that did sort of slightly discolour my paintwork, if I'm being honest. So I just kept it to the decal for any sort of odds that were a little bit more tricky, which there weren't, to be honest with you. These Cartograph decals are absolutely fantastic. They're thin enough that they're not chunky, should we say, but they're also strong enough. They were really strong to put up with a little bit of punishment with me moving things about. So whilst you watch me cut this out, and eventually I went to scissors because I found this so long-winded that I just went to scissors. But it's each to their own. If you prefer to use a knife, you know, crack on, do what you need to do, what's best for you, of course. Like I say, this isn't a tutorial of what to do, but how I did it as per the normal. Okay, so I just want to touch on something that is a proper bit of a red, like a match to to dry stuff. I'm struggling with my words today again. A bit of a what do you call it? A divisive subject, should we say? Is did I gloss before I put the decals down? No, I didn't, and I tell you for why. Is I've never found a need to. If you don't move them around too much on the kit, the glue of the decal, whether it's a matte or a semi-gloss or a gloss finish, will not silver if you don't sit there whittling around. Now, I know this is a bone of contention for so many people. I absolutely must gloss. I must gloss before, and so should you. Listen, that's fantastic. If that's what you want to do and it works for you, then it's entirely the correct thing to do. For me personally, I haven't found the need. I've always had it work, no silvering, without having to put gloss down. So good on you if you can get it. If you prefer to do gloss, that's fine. I don't, and this is how I do it. And I'm not saying this is how you should all do it, but just how I've done it. Okay, now we've got that little bit out of the way. Just zooming in for it so you can see better. It's a case of putting the right hand side stripe down on the forward part of the fuselage around the cockpit. So using the decal instruction sheet for reference, take your time, make sure you get position right, there's no rush. So while the decal is soaking in the warm water, by the way, I put some of the setter down in little dots to speed that up for you so we don't drag this out, because as you'll see going through this episode, there is a bit of a theme here. It's not hard, it's just a case of rinse and repeat multiple times. Making sure that it's happy to come off the backing paper, which it is. And as you can see, just got it pretty much in position. And just hoping that the backing paper isn't completely taking all my setter away, or jollop as I affectionately call it. And there we go, she lays down beautifully. Not too much movement needed now, a little bit of down and a little bit of back. So I'll just get on with that now. There we go. I'll just adjust that to the right as well, because as we know that stripe goes to the actual nose cone. There we go, so very little movement, so there will be next to no silvering. In fact, there isn't any silvering. I haven't got any silvering at all on this kit, so just saying that it works for me. Just getting it, just checking my references, make sure it's in perfect position, because obviously at the top of that, it's got to meet with the other side of the decal, so make sure you get this bit right. Take your time, check again. And that there was just a little rubber tipped, it's not a brush obviously, but a rubber tipped, well, brush for want of a better phrase, just to use that soft tip just to get it in position. It wasn't quite doing the job, to be fair, so I went back to using my tweezers, but I have to be so delicate with those because you really don't want to tear or rip the decal, of course. Just using the cotton bud, or for our American friends the Q-tip, just to start to take the water out and the setter from underneath the decal now to snug it into position. And then applying on top a generous dose or application of the setter. I do this just so I know that it will start now to conform to the edge, to the fuselage, and those beautiful panel lines will show through for that lovely painted on look that we all so desire and crave, of course. And voila, that is one side complete. And as you can see there, hopefully the camera picks this up beautiful, which it has. The panel lines are showing through for that lovely painted on look. And as you see, those decals are just outstanding. They're really, really good. Very happy with that side. So now it's onto the left-hand side of the forward fuselage around the cockpit. So Zoukei-Mura and Cartograph have been very clever here. There's as you'll see in a minute, there's sort of a swoosh bit, for want of a better phrase, on this side of the decal, and they've actually sort of left, you can see it to the right hand side of there, a recess where that slots nicely into position. So as I said before, it's a real case of rinse and repeat. Get the setter down. Decal's ready to go. I was quite nervous about this side, truth actually be known, because obviously the other side's gone on nice and easily, and I just have this, the law of sod, where if that side's gone on right, well this side surely can't. But bit of calmness, bit of patience, not panicking too much, and as you'll see, this sits down really, really well. Getting concerned there about that tip flipping over, so again, just take a breath. Think about it, and there she goes. Take your time and just flick it over if that happens to you. And then it's just a case of slide into position, excuse the fingers, but the old Mark 1 finger does seem to do the job really well with these decals. Do be careful though, because sometimes the decal can stick to your finger and then you've got all sorts of problems going on. So if you can, use a tool, but for this one I just found in this instance that it was, it was the thing to use. And as you can see there, it butts up really nicely against the other side of the decal, so there is ever such a faint line there, but do you know what? It's beyond my skill set. If you know how to get past that, then please do let me know. I would be really happy to add that to my skill set. I butted it up nicely, so there is a slight seam there. Once the decal solution had done its magic, it's barely noticeable. Saying that again, barely noticeable, but it is there under close inspection. And by close inspection, I mean really close inspection. So again, just using the cotton bud stroke Q-tip, making sure it's all in position, and just blending that across nicely. Really pleased how well this went down and how easy it was. And trust me, everybody, if I find this easy, you are definitely gonna find this easy, okay? As you see, it's starting to come together really well now. Such a pretty scheme. I'm so glad I chose this kit with this scheme. Didn't just go with a normal boring camouflage one. It just looks so lovely. So, bit of a change of pace. Now we're onto the wings. This decal is pretty delicate, so this is why I showed you this one. Don't worry, I've not recorded, excuse me, not recorded all the stencils and all that, because believe you me, I want you guys to come back and watch more episodes and not be bored to absolute tears. By the way, just to mention, you can see the number 2 there on the tip, on the left-hand tip of this. I got rid of that. This decal, as you can see, is extremely delicate, so I cannot stress enough. Take your time, be methodical, like I'm showing here, and don't panic about it. It all comes together well. Don't worry. There we go. Get rid of the backing paper. And just start to, there you go, bye-bye number 2. And just wiggle it into position. Like so. So whilst we're just going through this bit, just want to say thank you ever so much for sticking with me with this build and for keeping on checking in. I've had some really lovely comments on my last video that I uploaded, people saying welcome back and things like that. It's just lovely. It really makes my day to see these comments, so please do keep them coming. It's not about ego, it's not about being needed to be wanted. It's just nice to know there's people out there that care and enjoy my videos, so thank you ever so much to those that do. And if you haven't already, drop me a line, say hello, I don't bite. So you can see here, just gently coercing this into position. Using the cotton bud stroke Q-tip to then take out all the water that's underneath. And just gently get it to where we want it. And that blue bit there, after the video I did nudge that just a little bit further over to the edge of the wingtip. There you go, pretty much covered it all. Within sort of 10-15 minutes to half an hour, that will all be nice and conformed into the beautiful moulded work done by our dear friends at Zoukei-Mura. So here we go. Told you I wouldn't bore you with all the stencil details at the bottom there, because trust me, there are so many of them, it's enough to make you cry. As you can see there, over the last couple of weeks I've just been working methodically through them. What I will say, some of those decals that you can see there are not all singular. They're almost like on a spider effect. You know, there's bits sort of stick out from it, which are not easy at times to get off the backing paper. But again, with that, my advice to you is just plenty of water, take your time and slide it off, and just be patient with it. And as you can see there, it'll all come good. The eagle-eyed view will notice that the lighting has slightly changed probably in this view from here on inwards. That's because I've moved location, so the lighting is now coming from the left-hand side. I hope it's to your approval. I think it adds quite a moody effect, to be honest with you, a little bit less sort of uniform. As you can see there, so this is my point in case, is I've not put any gloss down here, and all these see-through bits of decals have gone on absolutely perfectly. Okay, you can see them shining up, but once I get a matte varnish on this, or a semi-gloss varnish as it will be, that will all completely disappear. So just say my thing, it works for me. So getting my little mate Fred the frog on here, and his little fingers or toes, just making sure that they're all in position. And then just gently getting him to conform to that centre point. A little bit of Q-tip, honestly, a little bit of a toothpick there just to get that into position. I had this brainiac idea that I might just use the back of the scalpel, but as you can see there, I thought better of it and just thought, you know what, you know that this is going to conform within 10-15 minutes, just leave it alone. And that sometimes is the trick. Don't overdo it, just allow it. So we go generous amounts of the jollop. And as you can see there, that has conformed perfectly. So next up is the Phantom Forever decal, as you can clearly see. And it's just again a case of slide that into position, nice and easy. Make sure it's nice and straight. And it really is as easy as that. Just making sure it's correctly in position. And as you can see, clearly being demonstrated here is the mark setter doesn't immediately take hold, so you do have a little bit of correction time here. But what I will say is once it does take hold, it takes hold, and you really don't want to be wiggling things about, because it will just you'll simply just tear the decal, to be totally honest with you. So time is of the essence with it, of course, but you do have time. Final corrections. To be honest, I'm just faffing about here, to be to be totally honest. But there we go. It's in position, and we're happy with that. Okay, the penultimate decal that I'm going to show you today in this episode is the gorgeous tail decal. So as you can see there already, tail's got the jollop on it, and it's just a case of dropping this in position with the Mark I fingers. Nice and easy like so. There's not much really more I can say on the subject, to be totally honest, that we haven't already covered here. Just speeding it up again for viewing pleasure, because otherwise we'll be here all day just looking at the same thing, which isn't pleasurable really. Then just using the Q-tip again just to get into position. As you can see quite clearly there, it's just starting to wrinkle slightly where the setting solution is starting to do its thing. So as I say, time is of the essence. You do have time, but don't faff around too much. And as you can see there, it is wrinkling slightly. Don't panic. Don't sit there and overdo this, okay? I know that this hasn't started to take hold yet, so I'm just ironing out the creases, making sure there's no water underneath. And it's properly and correctly in position. So do check your references, do check the instructions, get it right first time. Lovely, happy with that. I do iron out that that bubble that's in that in the tail plane there. So here we go, moving forwards, got the aircraft serial number on there, the rest of the tail design, it's just gone on so beautifully, as you can see, it's just excellent. Really, really happy with that. And then we've got the low vis strip to put on, which is just great. I'm so glad they put these in decal form and didn't have to sort of concoct a colour for this. Yeah, makes life a lot easier. So with a couple of minutes left to go on the video, and if you're still with me, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate your viewing and your continued support. There is a photo at the end of this just to show what the aircraft looks like, sat in position. I hope you enjoy that picture. It basically just shows where we're up to at the moment. The next episode hopefully won't be too far behind. Not really sure just yet what we're going to be covering. I know one thing, the landing gear will be finished off with the gear bay doors, and we will have the tail planes on. He says, saying that he doesn't know what he's going to be covering. This is pretty much what we're going to be covering, and also the ailerons and flaps and slats will also be covered in that. Don't know if I do much cockpit work just yet, but you never know, we will see. So again, thank you ever so much. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe, because the algorithm loves a like and subscribe. It just helps support me. If you don't mind. So just getting this strip in position, making sure it's exactly right. Clearing away the last of the setter and just getting that nicely in position. Very happy with that. So I'm going to stop talking now, which I'm sure you'll all be delighted to hear, and just enjoy the rest of this little bit of the video with the photograph. Have a look at the aircraft. Let me know what your thoughts are. All comments, criticisms, etc. are welcome. Until next time, enjoy the hobby, everyone. Thanks so much for checking in. Have a good one. Take care of yourselves.